Hello comic book fans, and thank you very much for coming back to see another comic book haul. I'm Oddmondo from Not of This Realm, where we talk about comic books, movies, and action figures inspired by the realms of superheroes, sci-fi, horror, and fantasy. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time here. We hope you enjoy the video and consider liking and subscribing to us. Join me as I rank my comic book haul for this week and give you my thoughts and opinions for each title. Starting from the back of my list at 5th place, I have Venom War number 4. There's a lot going on in this penultimate issue to Venom War. It can feel a little overstuffed, but I think it was a smart decision by writer Al Ewing to focus on the relationship between Eddie Brock and his son Dylan, as well as have the Venom symbiote narrate and offer some insight to hold it all together. The dynamic artwork by Iban Coelho does an excellent job of creating a sense of speed and weight in every punch, slam, and kick. Because of his artwork, you can immediately tell what characters are feeling just from their facial expressions. It feels like I'm reading a manga, but with the added benefit of the gorgeous colors by Frank D'Armata. Venom War is a consistently entertaining book both visually and story-wise. Interesting developments toward the end of the book should make for a potentially epic conclusion in the next issue. So far, I've had fun keeping up with this title. And then I have Plastic Man No More number 3 in 4th place. Plastic Man is a train wreck, and what a magnificent train wreck he is. I can't turn away as Plastic Man continues to deteriorate both mentally and physically with every bad choice he makes. Christopher Cantwell has written a truly dark and twisted tale that has Plastic Man making increasingly deplorable decisions for the sake of saving himself and his son. The only real reason Plastic Man gets away with any of it is because no one in the Justice League or his personal life takes him seriously or wants anything to do with him. Things only get more complicated when Detective Chimp, one of Plastic Man's few allies, gets suspicious and starts closing in on him, which leads to some very shocking moments. Both of the art styles by Jacob Edgar and Marcelo Maiolo are so lively and energetic and suit the tone of their respective side of the story. I also like what each artist brings to the table with their unique page layouts, composition, and transitions from one panel to the next. Besides the writing, it really helps this book stand out. As Plastic Man's choices and actions continue to worsen, they are reflected disturbingly well in his grotesque appearance by both artists. I'm never disappointed whenever I get into an issue of Plastic Man No More. If you like dark, twisted humor and seeing characters digging themselves into their own graves, then you really should be reading every issue of Plastic Man No More. The second runner-up is Venom War Spiderman number 4. It's a perfect ending to this tie-in series that also feels like a classic Spider-Man story. I love Peter's internal banter about his relationship with the symbiote and Mary Jane. Then we finally get to see Spidey go back to save Mary Jane from the arachniote in a weird, surreal headspace where the two have to overcome the monster's influence. It was really nice seeing them work together as peers, and then heartbreaking when it was all over. Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing really nailed it with this final issue. It's a funny, action-packed, dramatic, and bittersweet story that reminds us why we love the webhead. The pencils by Greg Land are beautiful as always. His naturalistic art style and the inks and colors by Jay Leiston and Frank D'Armata respectively really made it feel like it came to life. There were lots of great moments where the writing and artwork made the book feel like I was watching a Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Even if you aren't keeping up with Venom War, I think Venom War Spider-Man is definitely worth a read as either a trade paperback or digital copies. The Ultimates number 6 comes in at 2nd place with an incredible conclusion to the first story arc. Dennis Camp does an amazing job of creating a truly intimidating adversary for the Ultimates in the form of the Hulk, and delivering some really shocking moments. Of course, all of this intense action and brutality is masterfully depicted by artist Juan Frigeri. There's so much great detail in all the characters and sets, and then the page layouts and the shots in every panel are just fantastic. All of it is elevated by the atmospheric colors by Federico Blee. My only criticism for this issue is actually with the Ultimates title as a whole. It's the end of the first story arc, and I feel like there's very little team rapport. This first story arc has mostly been origin stories for alternate versions of some of the well-known Marvel superheroes, tied together by the threat of the Maker and his council. Iron Lad even states at the beginning of this issue that it's the first time they've all come together. I think this already amazing issue and story arc would have had more significance if we were more familiar with the team dynamics and their relationship with one another. Don't get me wrong, The Ultimates is a great title with well-developed characters, and I highly suggest reading it once this first arc is released as a trade paperback. And my number 1 pick for this week is Absolute Superman number 1. I'm a huge fan of Jason Aaron. I think his current run on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is brilliant. His reimagining of the Superman mythos here is just as superb and continues DC's winning streak with the absolute titles. Aaron does an excellent job with world building, not just on Earth but Krypton as well. He shows us the status quo of this Krypton, how Superman's family fits into it, and how the structure of this civilization eventually results in the destruction of the planet. It parallels current events on Earth so that we have a better understanding of Superman's motivation for wanting to help people. I also really like how Aaron reinvents Superman's powers. Instead of changing them entirely, he instead puts limitations on them. It's not an entirely new concept, but I like that he puts emphasis on this difference. And all of this is just in the first issue. I remember getting to the halfway point of the book and feeling like I was starting on the next one. I think that maybe this issue would have benefited from being split into two because of all the changes that are being given to us, but it's written so well that it's hardly a problem. With so much going on in one issue, you'd think that it would be too much for artist Rafa Sandoval to handle, but it's not. The amount of detail in every panel and page just blows my mind. The colors by Ulysses Ariola are really just phenomenal here and make the book look like a cinematic masterpiece. And honestly, this take on Superman feels like what we would have gotten if Christopher Nolan had made a Superman movie. Overall, I am extremely happy with what the entire team did with Absolute Superman. It's a smart, exciting read, and I think this is an excellent start to what's sure to be a great title. I am definitely keeping this one in my pull list, and I think you should too. Did you read any of these comic books? What did you think? Do you agree or disagree with my opinions on them? Are there books I didn't include and you would like to talk about them? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel and interested in comic books, movies, and action figures inspired by the realms of superheroes, sci-fi, horror, and fantasy, then please consider subscribing to us. I'm Armando from Not of This Realm. This video was written by me and edited by the amazing Astra Vixen. Thank you so much for watching, be safe and take care.